Now,
recovery doesn't start tomorrow.
calling all angels.
Recovery starts right now. And here to help is Rated R for Recovery.
Calling all you angels. Calling all angels. Now, calling all you angels.
Edition of Rated R for Recovery, the website, Rated R for the number 4 recovery.com. I'm an addict. My name's John.
Hey, John.
Hey, John.
My co-host at the other end of the table.
Hey, I'm an alcoholic. My name is Joy. Welcome to the show.
Hey, Joy.
So, Joy,
Yes.
would you tell our listeners, both here and at home, what Rated R for Recovery is?
Well, it says right here that Rated R for Recovery is a recovery-based, faith-driven program bringing hope, healing, and restoration to individuals and families impacted by addiction. Through interviews, sharing information, and entertainment, we strive to be a catalyst for change for all who wish to recover.
Very nice. So, ladies and gentlemen, we encourage you to like us on YouTube. Hit the like, subscribe, and notifications button. You can also like us on the Facebook and pass us around to your friends and family. We have a couple of announcements before we get underway. One is we're grateful for the KRZ studio. Now, what does KRZ stands for? Well, it stands for Kimmies Recovery Zone, the housing for our show. It is at 507 Center Road in Fort Myers, Florida, and it's just a blessing to be able to do the show from here, don't you think?
It is. It's wonderful.
You know, Joy,
Yes.
something touched me the other day is that, you know, I sit here and we do the show every week. We don't really, well, maybe you do.
You want me here every week?
Every week.
All right.
And we get some feedback once in a while. But the most powerful feedback I got is that our friend Audra, who was on the show, did she tell you? She connected with her daughter through Rated R for Recovery that she hadn't spoken to in a long time. So if that's the only thing that happens in the 25 years of our existence, I'm only kidding, we haven't been doing it for 25 years, then that's just a blessing in itself. And that's what recovery is all about. Is, you know, we come, you know, this 12-step thing that people talk about. Well, the purpose of these 12 steps is to show each other what may be done to enlist the aid of a power greater than ourselves, regardless of what our conception of that power is, and then rely all we do to that power. So if we're working to strive to get closer to whatever that power is, we should be good with ourselves. We should be, if we're good this way, we should be good this way. Agree, Joy?
We work on it.
Very good. All right. Want to talk about Party in the Park?
Go right ahead.
Very good. Thank you very much. Okay, it's an annual event put on by Kimmies Recovery Zone, ladies and gentlemen, called Party in the Park. It's a recovery event to celebrate those that didn't make it and to celebrate the living in the recovery world. This year it is September 12th. It starts at 11 o'clock. It's at the Lake Kennedy Center in Cape Coral, Florida. Now, when you go to this, and we encourage you to bring your family and friends, there'll be music, there'll be food, motivational speakers, and recovery booths from all different aspects of the recovery world, whether it be the emergency room EMTs to the rehab centers to the detoxes. You're going to see all sorts of recovery people there. And so that's, once again, that is the 12th of September at Lake Kennedy Center in Cape Coral, Florida. Another fundraiser that's going on, we briefly touched on last week. Well, why don't you go ahead with
Well, is that a fundraiser or is that the fundraiser?
It is a fundraiser.
Fundraiser.
Fun. We raise some fun. F-U-N.
Yes.
Yes.
I think
Should
that's
I go ahead with this?
Yeah,
Thank
that's
you.
what we're talking about.
Thank you. It's a country and western fundraiser at Aruca, and that is in LaBelle, Florida. And that has, if you need more information on that, just give me a call. Thank you, Joy.
What's it called?
It's called Country and Western Fundraiser.
Okay.
There'll be line dancing, auctions, comedy, music, and mocktails.
The comedy will be better than this, right?
You think? You better hope so.
Yeah, okay. All right.
That was
So
hit below the belt, that one.
So some of the many things that Kimmie's Recovery Zone does is the last Thursday of every month, they have coffee and canteen. You can come and get coffee, have good company, enjoy uplifting fellowship with fellow veterans, followed by grocery shopping for all veterans in need. It says come early, stay connected, and leave with essentials. The last Thursday of every month from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. And one of the other things Kimmie's does is called WRAP, W-R-A-P, Wellness Recovery Action Plan, specifically focusing on grief. It's a safe and caring space to share, heal, and find hope. They have some guidance in wellness recovery. They use an action plan, and they explore practical tools to support healing, build resilience, and nurture hope every Wednesday from 3 to 4 right here.
Oh, very nice. So let's start off the show with the gentleman next to me. So please welcome our first guest. This is Richard. Richard has a wonderful life, and he lives in Naples, and he's an owner of a roofing company, correct?
Yes, that's right.
You're engaged to be married, correct?
That's right. That's
Yeah,
right.
congratulations
March
on
7th.
that.
And
Very
he
good.
travels the
He
world.
travels the world, but Richard, it wasn't always this way, was it?
No, it definitely wasn't.
So where are you from originally?
I call Virginia Beach, Virginia home.
Okay, and how old were you when you started like messing around with the kids? Well, I shouldn't say it that way, but when you first took your first drink or drug?
Right around 14. I mean, I had sipped a beer here and there, but I mean, really starting to drink and smoke a little weed was,
Yeah.
14. Yeah.
You know, I remember that when we were 14, we would roam the neighborhood because we would sleep out at night. We would steal
Yeah.
the liquor from our parents and mix it all together in one bottle. And then we would take a can of high C grape juice and we would drink the liquor and we would chase it with warm high C grape juice. Now, we thought we knew so much that we would roam the neighborhood. When you said smoke weed and drink, I just thought we found this bush on the side of the road in a residential neighborhood that we could have sworn it was marijuana, which we cut and we dried out and we smoked, which wasn't marijuana at all. But it's just one of those funny stories. But like Joyce said, hopefully the comedy is better at this thing than it is here.
Oh, wow.
So you started smoking a little weed, drinking a little and booze, and what happened after that?
Yeah. I just, as a young kid, I moved around a lot, so I was always the new kid. But, when I got to Virginia Beach, I'd ask my mom, can I just go to high school in one place? So I was in 8th grade when I moved to Virginia Beach. And I always tried to fit in, and I found that drinking and drugging was an easy way to fit in.
When you said you asked your mom, could I just stay here and go to high school in this one place, what was the reason why you moved around so much?
My dad was in the military, and my mom and dad got divorced when when I was 7, and but my mom grew up in the military too, so every 3 years she's like ready to go.
No.
So we moved around a lot, yeah.
Okay. Was it a strict upbringing?
Not at all.
No. Okay. All right. And this looseness at home caused you to be able to go out and act out in the neighborhood or whatever?
I don't know that it would be called looseness. My mom did a great job of raising 2 boys on her own, and she worked, but obviously being that she was working, we were home alone a lot. So I wouldn't say it was a bad upbringing. We just didn't, my mom wasn't around a lot. She's working hard. She did a great job of raising us, but
Obviously.
yeah, we had a lot of free time to do on our own.
When did the alcohol or smoking weed, when did you notice it became a problem? Can you put your finger on you say, I started missing school or I started skipping school or anything like that?
Well, I would say I never really thought it was a problem until many years later. I took it and ran with it, actually.
Okay.
And I all through high school into my first semester of college, and till my mom kicked me out of the house for doing and dealing drugs out of the house. And I moved down to the beach with some friends, and that was the first time I hit a wall, and it was with cocaine specifically.
That's funny you should say that because I believe that is kind of partly my journey too. Until I found a certain drug, everything was okay. Joy, I was managed. I could put the drink down whenever I thought I had too much. In fact, I couldn't do. I smoked weed, took acid, and drank, but not like on a daily basis. And it was the weekend thing. It was things we did when we partied, and it didn't become a problem until I started doing cocaine.
Yeah, yeah.
Is that
Well,
your?
well, for me, cocaine was always the problem, and Virginia Beach was the problem. It was all my friends. It was the place, and I so much so that when I went off to college in North Carolina, I came down to Florida, cleaned my act up for about 4 months, got some good grades in one semester of college, transferred to a college called Elon in North Carolina, and I knew Virginia Beach was my problem. And I knew as long as I didn't do cocaine at college, I would be fine. And so I did everything else at college, but I never did cocaine at college. And I made it 3.5 years drinking and doing acid and doing all the other stuff that comes along. I was actually pretty successful.
Okay. You said you made it 3.5 years. Normally, college is 4 years, isn't
That's
it?
right.
So what?
So I had a academic suspension. I had to be off for one semester, and I went back to Virginia
Why?
Beach,
Why?
and I never went back to college.
Why were you suspended for a semester?
Under getting a 2.0.
Oh, grade point
Grade
average.
point average,
Oh,
yeah.
very good. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, not very good, but okay.
Right.
So then you went back to Virginia Beach, and Virginia Beach was a problem.
That's right. Virginia
So
Beach is the problem.
We get right back into it.
Yes.
How bad did it get?
Well, Virginia Beach, I always had connections, so it was a dealing and using thing. Later in life, later in recovery, doing the steps actually taught me that it wasn't about the money and it wasn't about the actual drug even. It was about the pride. I come to find that in the steps, I came to find that pride was my thing. And just like I said before, going from school to school, I always wanted to have friends. I always wanted to be a part of. So I found out through the steps later that my problem was I never thought I was as good as somebody in the room, and I never thought and sometimes I thought I was better than everybody in the room. I never looked at myself
Right.
as equal person on the plane of
Really?
everybody else in the room. And
Huh.
so therefore I used, and when I used, I could feel right-sized.
Okay. Joy?
Yeah, I was always better than, or I was always the best or the worst.
Huh.
All or nothing.
It's interesting how you both have the same take on that, and I never felt good enough. I have a
You
large,
just didn't have
this big ego,
the
this
the
big ego,
bipolar
walk
part.
into a room and talk to everybody, but never felt good enough.
Mm.
Yeah.
And that sometimes affects me to this day, to tell you the truth.
Yeah.
But I work on it.
Yeah, for me, especially with cocaine, it was, I can walk into a room and I can feel that I'm not good enough to be in the room. I'm not as good as the people in the room. And then the moment I start to do cocaine, but more specifically sell cocaine, because then I'm the man. Then I'm better than you.
You're,
And pride drove me. It drove me to crazy extents, really.
so
I thought it was the drugs, but it was the pride.
and a control thing, maybe, when that you had the world in your hand because
yeah.
you were the man?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay. Now, were you dealing large amounts of cocaine, or were you doing,
Well-
there's 1 gram is too much, but you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Were you the big man, or were you just the man?
There was moments of clarity. I can give you an example of clarity if you want.
Sure.
I remember at one point in Virginia Beach when I came back from college, I had some cash I had dealt drugs in college, acid and mushrooms, and stayed away from cocaine. When I came back to Virginia Beach, I was dealing cocaine, and I remember one specific time thinking maybe this is getting out of control, that I saw 30 pounds of weed in the closet, a 1/4 ounce of cocaine, and 10 sheets of acid, and a bunch of mushrooms. And I thought maybe this is getting out of control. And then I just kept going. And that was at age about 24, and I didn't get clean till I was 32.
Huh.
So that continued. The first time I smoked cocaine, I was 25. And it's only because I couldn't snort it anymore. It wouldn't go up my nose.
Right. Me too.
And that became a whole different monster.
Okay. And where did that take you?
Really bad places.
Give us an example.
Well, I burned all the bridges in Virginia Beach pretty quickly, within about 1.5 to 2 years. I guess that's not too quick smoking crack, but it was pretty quick, and a lot of people were getting in trouble. I knew Virginia Beach was my problem, so I got on a plane, flew to New Orleans, have family there. I'm going to change my life, about $4,000 in my pocket. I landed. I got a hotel room a little bit off Bourbon Street, and I'm going to go to Baton Rouge and start my life over. And I went down, played some pool, started drinking, and I smoked about $3,500 worth of crack in the streets of New Orleans.
Mm.
And I woke up
24 hours?
Well, about 2 days later, and I didn't really wake up. I just kind of came to, and I remember looking in the mirror. It's one of those moments of clarity, going, "Uh-oh," and I'm not going to curse on here, but I brought me with me. And Virginia Beach is not my problem. And it scared me enough to stay somewhat away from cocaine in general for about 3 years, and I just drank like a fish.
So when you were dabbling in or using cocaine and then started smoking cocaine, where was Mom?
Oh, Mom had long since when she saw me in Virginia Beach when I started smoking cocaine, she thought I would be dead within a year. The last time she saw me.
So she stopped talking to you, or how
Um,
did the relationship strain?
no, she didn't stop talking to me for many years until after that. But yeah, she stayed clear.
Okay, and so did well. My mom was my biggest enabler, so that's that. My sister, on the other hand, was the one that said, "Do not contact mom anymore." At one point, she said, "Mom's not going to take your phone calls anymore," even though she did. But anyway, that's a different story. It's not about me. You get to the New Orleans, you've smoked up all your money. So where you living now?
So I went on to Lafayette, Louisiana. I had a cousin that lived there, and I moved in with him and his two boys, young boys, and he worked during the day, and I worked in restaurants at night. So I helped him babysit. He let me live there. I ended up meeting a woman. We bought a house together. I lived there for 3 years in New Orleans, and I'm sorry, Lafayette, Louisiana, and
You're coming up awful fast here. These bottoms that you're hitting in New Orleans. Then, oh, I went and stayed with my cousin, met a girl, and we bought a house.
yeah, well, it's in
That is
3 year period. Well, let me share something about our readings of Cocaine Anonymous. Anyways, there's a part in one of our readings that said we talk about this fine-tuned state of mind. We talk about how we had this fine-tuned state of mind, and it blew our mind that we were strung out or we were hooked on
nothing
something.
mattered more to us than stripe the needle or the
Right, and that's
straw
me.
yeah.
That's me for sure. The fine-tuned state of mind. Once I got into recovery, I continued to excel with this fine-tuned state of mind. But addiction took it from me, and I didn't even know it was gone.
Describe what that means to the audience at home.
Well, when you're living thinking you have a fine-tuned state of mind and something else is in control, everything you're doing to use that fine-tuned state of mind is to get more. And not to do anything for anybody else but yourself, to be completely self-centered and to do more.
Yeah.
And when you're not in control of that fine-tuned state of mind, and I'll just say it like I see it, when the devil is, well, you're in trouble.
So I'll do whatever it takes, regardless of how it affects the people around me.
Oh, absolutely.
So you met this woman, and you bought a house together?
That's
Was
right.
that the end of your drug and alcohol use?
No. I came down to Florida and I visited a friend, and they had a safe full of cocaine, and we did cocaine for a couple days. And I thought, well, when I leave Lafayette, I'm gonna probably go down to Florida, and that's what I did. We sold the house, we split a check for $30,000, and I came down to Florida, and off to the races I was again.
So you found somebody in Florida that had a safe full of
Well,
cocaine?
I wouldn't say safe. It seemed like a couple ounces, I would guess.
Okay,
But,
all right. So
but when you're not doing cocaine for a while and somebody shows you a couple ounces, it's a safe full.
So keep us going on this journey, and where did it get you?
Well, then it became problems with the law. I found that if I went to some widespread panic concerts and fish concerts, I could sell nitrous oxide and make some really good money. And I had friends that had these tanks, so I would go out of town and I would go sell nitrous oxide at concerts and hang out with them, and I would come back with a bunch of cash and be able to smoke crack and continue with my life.
So
And
for those of us listening at home that might be not familiar with nitrous oxide, it is a gas that is used by dentists usually, commonly known as laughing gas. And is that correct?
yeah, we also in the hippie world we call it hippie crack.
Call it what?
Hippie crack.
Hippie crack.
Yeah.
Okay, very good. And so you're selling this by the can?
By the canister, yeah, big tanks of it out of balloons.
Like the big tanks that are like 5 feet
like
tall?
like you see it a clown would use.
How do you transport those things?
Well, I'll tell you, if we're going to talk about this, I'll tell you probably one of the worst days of my life. It is a widespread panic concert in Memphis, Tennessee, and we are in a van. We had been selling some nitrous in the parking lot, but the police were everywhere, and the police raided the van, and they arrested us. They found some stuff in the van. They took me and my brother to downtown Memphis to jail, and the last thing I remember is them finding some stuff in the back seat, and so they took me to arraignment. My first charge of any kind of weight, I'd been arrested before, drunk in public and stuff. But here I am in a Memphis jail. I'm sitting in front of the magistrate. The door goes up, and they tell me that they have weighed the vial of LSD that they found, and it's weighs to the charge of 15 to 30 years in prison. And that was my charge. The minimum was 15 on my first felony. And I think that was probably one of the worst days of my life, walking down the hallway after being told that I was looking at 15 years in prison. And I remember my mom asking me a question about that. Well, I was like, it wasn't mine. It wasn't in my pocket or any of this. And she said, well, you did that before, right? You sold that. And I had, And but what the strangest part of it is there's the worst day of my life, one of the worst days. And my friends, they bailed me out, and we got in a van, and the van had 10 tanks of nitrous oxide in it. We got in the van. I sat on top of the tanks, and we went right back into the next night of widespread panic, and we started selling nitrous again. And it was in 2000, and I got clean in 2003. And
Wait. What happened to that charge?
Well, I'm gonna tell you. One of the things that happened is I came down to Florida, and I was supposed to go up to a court date for that, and I didn't go. I stayed. I had money to give to my lawyer, but I didn't give it to the lawyer. I smoked it. And so the bounty hunters came and tackled me over here in Principia, right in Fort Myers here. And they tackled me and brought me up there, and I did 10 and a half months in Memphis jail because I had no bond now.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Yeah. And so my parents stepped in at that point, hired some lawyers, and I ended up getting out of jail, doing time served, 3 years serious probation, and 10 years floating or something. And I came to Florida, and my probation was supposed to transfer, and I was waiting for it to transfer, and I figured, well, I'm not going to do weed, I'm not going to do pills, I can do cocaine because it'll get out of my system quick. So I was off to the running again, and they never called. It was about 9 months, and nobody called, so I was just doing and selling drugs, stealing, doing whatever here in Florida, and I picked up 5 more cases, 4 felony charges in Florida.
And when did this come to an end? What happened, or what was it like? What was going on when you got to the point that you said, I can't do this anymore?
Well, people in this room, in this world, probably Joy here, she probably knows a name Betty Scruggs and Miss
Sure
Vivian.
do. Love Betty Scruggs.
And so those ladies started the drug program inside the Lee County Jail. I was one of the very first inmates to be in that program. And that's the first time I'd ever heard anything about 12 steps, really anything about the big book. And how I ended up in that is kind of a story, but I didn't really sign up for it. I figured I would use that to get out of jail to like kind of work the system, And but the guards came and they had my name on the list, and I said, well, I didn't sign up for that, and they didn't have a file, and they didn't say you don't have to go, but there's a bed with a name on it for you, and if you think you have a drug problem, then be up here in 10 minutes with all your stuff. And so I went and sat on the bunk, and I thought, I'm probably going to do 5 years here in Florida. I've got 3 years hanging over my head in Tennessee. So maybe in 8 years, if I actually start working on this, maybe when I get out, I won't do this again. And I went to that drug program, and it changed my life.
And how much time did you actually end up doing?
So the most interesting part of it is, if anybody knows about the Florida system of the legal system, if you get more than 44 points here in Florida, you have to do a year and a day. Well, they tried to split my charges up, and then I'm going to make this real fast. And they started splitting my charges up, and they were going to charge me in multiple times. And so I was going to point out well over, probably 120 or something, and because they were taking the charges and dividing them up. But what's the most interesting part is I started reading this big book, and I started doing this recovery stuff. And it's almost, I have to say it because that's the way I see it, it's almost like God stepped in. And so long story short, I ended up going to court a few times. They tried to split the charges, and I ended up back in the courtroom. But I ended up doing 5 probations on top of one another for 2 years with no drug court, no nothing. And I had 64 points, and I walked out of the Lee County Jail with 2 years probation stacked on top of one another. And that's pretty incredible. But I didn't. The bad part is I didn't really go to meetings right away. And I used a few times. And the last few times I used, I think that's the very first time that I ever realized that it didn't matter whether I was in jail or not in jail. It didn't matter if I had a home or didn't have a home, had a girlfriend, didn't have a girlfriend, had money, didn't have money. I was going to use, and it was not a choice anymore.
Yeah.
And I never knew that.
Yeah. So and then that was an awakening for you then.
Yeah, walking down McGregor Street crying, realizing that I was on the edge of being more of a criminal than I'd ever been before, or I was going to have to find another way to live. And luckily I'd read this big book. I had been to meetings inside the Lee County Jail. I had worked some steps. I thoroughly believe, I think I was on step 3 by then, and I ended up using, I mean, I really think the first few steps I did in jail. And, but that walking down the street, probably past your house, actually, walking from basically Pine Manor down to College and then straight down McGregor to downtown, bawling the whole way, crying. And I couldn't believe that I was homeless. I was on all this probation. I had been let out of jail. That stuff in Tennessee, they never even had charges on me. Like never. And so the thing is that here I am still using, and I couldn't believe it. I just couldn't believe it.
That's the thing is that we use no matter what, and this what literature calls it incomprehensible demoralization that comes with going back to it again and then saying, how did I get here again? How did I end up homeless without any shoes? XYZ, whatever it is. And it is a cycle that is repeated over and over again, which my friend John Snow would call the circle of doom. And John is one of these people that didn't make it. And to this day, I have that piece of paper that he drew for me in my book, in my literature, of how this cycle goes. And until I work. Now, Richard made a good point. He said, I worked the first 3 steps. I can't. He can. I think I'll let him. That's the easy way of doing it. But until I have a significant first step experience, which knows in my heart of hearts that I cannot safely use just one, I can't go on to step 2, Joy, can I?
I don't know. You can work through them intellectually, but then you have to, in step 2, you have to come to believe.
And in that first step, which is what I have to do when I open my eyes in the morning, because I am so scared of going back to what you're talking about, because I have relapsed on numerous occasions during my journey, that first step is something that I have to work on a daily basis for me. And for those of you listening at home or that don't know, it says we admitted we were powerless over whatever it is and that our life has become unmanageable. It's easy to self-diagnose that. In fact, I believe, Joy, you're a nurse, that it is the only disease accredited by the American Medical Association that is self-diagnosed. Is that correct?
Well, I don't know. I don't know if it's the only disease that is self-diagnosed, but I know that this is one that basically you have to diagnose yourself.
That and brachioradial
Yes, exactly.
That's
okay. Exactly what I was thinking about.
So, well, anyway, so Richard, so then you get to this point where, oh my God, how do I get here again? And what is your sobriety date?
Sobriety date's August 31st of 2003.
Yeah.
We had some recovery. We went back out. We used again, and then I'm assuming you went right back to find these people that had spoken to you in jail, not the individual people, but the scenario of 12 steps, of home group, of service work. You went back into that circle. Is that correct?
That's right. The day my sobriety date of August 31st of 2003 was 2 days after that walking down McGregor, and I only call it 2 days because the next morning when I went to the homeless shelter to get my stuff, I ran into a guy and I said, I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know where I'm going to go. I'm on probation. I'm in all kinds of trouble now. And he said, go to Swaffus down. It was on Dixie back then.
Yep.
And they said, go to Swaffus. He gave me the direction. He said, chug a beer. You've been doing cocaine all night.
Yep.
They'll let you in and they'll help you. And that's what I did. I stopped. My last thing is funny because one of the first things I think is the first thing I ever tasted was beer. The last thing I've ever tasted is beer.
It's beer.
And and a lot of cocaine the night before. But yeah. And I went in, checked myself into the detox there on Dixie. And that was the first time I had ever heard of a Cocaine Anonymous meeting too, because back then Cocaine Anonymous brought meetings into that. It was actually my first home group was Straight with No Chaser inside that detox. And but yeah, and I've been clean since. Yeah.
I remember, and it's funny how different stories are alike. And Joy's husband, Art Vandelay, took me to detox at one point, and he stopped on the way there and bought a large beer and shook it up. Had me drink it, then shook the rest of it up and sprayed it on me, so I smelled like beer.
Why do we do that?
Which got me a free ticket. What?
To get into detox.
Yes.
Because there's no quote detox for cocaine.
There is no quote detox from cocaine, which really needs something to be looked at by our system. So so that's what it was like. That's what happened. What's life like today, Richard?
Well, I can share it like this. It's a pretty cool thing to share. right before I was my first day in day labor, I had rolled over in bed at the homeless shelter. This is before I used the last time, but I had rolled over bed because in the jail program they said get up in the morning, roll onto your knees, and ask your higher power for help. And so I had learned to do that, and I remember rolling over, and I wanted to stay at the mission. They were just building the steeple there at the homeless mission by the flea market, if anybody knows where that is, the mission. And they were just building the steeple, and they said if you're going to live on the property or stay on the property, we'd like you to help us build this church. If you're going to go out, we want you to be looking for a job or going to work. And I thought, I've been in jail for a while. I know, and I'm praying, and I'm like, I know God would want me to work on this church and right here, and I know I need to look for a job. And I really just wanted to go to the beach and just lay in the sun for a little while. But I know that I should be going to work. And I heard in my heart, go to work, go get. And I was the last man on the labor bus. And that was the first day I got hired on asked to go with this roofing company. And I had never roofed a day in my life. And they took me out to Sanibel Island, and we sat on top of a flat roof, and they had me cut membrane all day, and I could see the beach in the distance.
Yeah.
On a Catholic church, and there I was working still at the beach, working on a church, and that's the first prayer that actually came to. And what's interesting about that is that membrane that I was cutting was my first certification when I owned my own commercial roofing company to certified to install that membrane. And so, well over 20 years later now, that's one of my biggest products that I sell for my roofing company. So I only roofed really in recovery. I mean, I used a few times. And what's interesting is the couple days I was in SWAFIS, my day labor crew, they actually were off that week. I went back and I thought I'd missed the chance to get hired with this company, and the labor pool said, no, that crew was gone all week. They were on vacation. So the week I was in SWAFIS was the same week the crew was off, and so they ended up hiring me on the company about 3 weeks after that, and I worked for that company for 8 years before I went on to other companies.
And then eventually own your own company.
That's right, yeah.
Correct. You've raised
Amazing.
some kids in the meantime, too?
Oh, yeah. I raised kids that actually want to call me dad, yeah.
Very good. And is your mom still with us?
Yes.
And
Yeah.
How's the relationship? Talk about the restoration that comes with doing the next right thing.
Okay.
Both in all aspects, with family, with friends, with employers.
So my mom, I had my last run. My mom had helped me in Tennessee to get me out of trouble, and she had given me a credit card to come down to Florida and try to get started up again. I'm on probation. I'm out of trouble in Tennessee, and my mom hands me this credit card, and she says, "Don't F this up because this is my husband's money." And she gave me this credit card, and I came back down to Florida, and I just ripped and ran. I remember going to Kmart and stuff, buying stuff for Xboxes for drug dealers and stuff, and just smoking it all up. I got caught because I was trying to pretend like I was my stepdad, and I was upping the credit card from the $24,000 credit to 30, and they called him, and they didn't even know the credit card was ran up at all. And so my mom didn't speak to me anymore. The last year or so of me using, she didn't speak to me. In time in jail, she didn't speak to me here in Florida. My time in recovery, for the first year, she didn't speak to me at all. She started to speak to me a little bit after about a year clean. I made an arrangement with her to start paying her back. Years and years later, she came to me. I was up in her house in Virginia, and she came to me, and she said, "Hey, I got something for you, and I think you should have it." And it was one of these little notepads like this, but it was a little spiral one that was like this big with a spiral on the top. I'm sure we all know what that is. But she handed me 3 pages, and it was numbers down, 3 rows on both sides, and it was $50 and a date and a date and a date. And I knew I had paid off the debt of $24,000+ a couple years before. And she said, "I thought you should have this." And it was all the times I had paid her month after month after month, paying her back the money I owed her. And I kind of get teared up when I say that, but I still got it in my drawer at home. And she said that's what made the difference, is that you actually I could see you over month after month. And she started talking to me again. So the relationship now, she does the books for my company. She helped me start my company, and actually I think I owe her about 3 months worth of pay right now. I just put the money in the bank. I actually pay her to do the books. But yeah, she takes care of all my books. She has control of all my money in my company, and she handles all of it for me.
Wonderful, wonderful. Is there anything that we left out before we go to commercial?
No, I just know one thing, and I'll share this. I always believed in some kind of higher power. I never really was not a believer of that. I was very skewed and very lost for a long time, but I can tell you, even for the 3 years in recovery, 3.5 years in recovery, that I was in recovery and I had not worked the steps, I did not have the relationship with my higher power that I did after I worked the steps. And the steps cleaned up a lot of stuff between me and my higher power, me and myself. It fixed stuff with other people, but the steps really cleaned some stuff up between me and myself and gave me a connection with me and my higher power that I never had before. And it came through the humility of finding out who I was so I could actually look in the mirror and accept the bad as much as the good. And I can walk into a room, and I struggle with it to this day, to walk into a room and think I'm, better or worse than, but I can actually walk into a room today and know I'm equal with every other person in the room, regardless of who and what or where they come from or where they're at in the world. And because of that, I'm able to stay clean. And it's only that through my higher power that I'm able to do that.
Very, very good. Yeah. I get right with God, I get right with me, and I get right with you. Give Richard a nice round of applause. Well, when we come back, we're going to have our second segment of the show, which we affectionately call Kimmies Korner, and we're going to be speaking with Manny and friends. So that will be Al's segment. We'll be right back after these messages.
Have you been charged with a crime? You could face serious penalties for conviction, and it is vitally important that you have skilled legal assistance on your side during this time. Call Brian L. Edwards, Esquire, Attorney at Law today. 888-512-6254. Results matter. With a track record of success, our methods are tried and true. Mistakes happen, but we can help. Brian L. Edwards, Esquire, Attorney at Law. Visit FortMyersCriminalLawFirm.com or call 888-512-6254.
Kimmy, I hope I'm making you proud.
He had a little girl named Kimmy with a laugh that lit the room. Then fentanyl came like a storm cloud and took her away too soon. He kneeled down by her bedside with a prayer he could not shake. Then he said, I won't just break here, I will build for others' sake. So he opened up the doors where the hurting could walk in, with a couch, a meal, a blanket, and a chance to start again. Kimmies Recovery Zone. Kimmies Recovery Zone. For our community. For our community. Where the hungry find a table and the lost can find a home. Kimmies Recovery Zone. Kimmies Recovery Zone. There are folding chairs and coffee. There are boxes by the wall. There are nights he stays up answering every single call. A father with a broken heart who turned pain into a light. Now he hands out help in silence till somebody makes it right. From the ashes of his sorrow, he made shelter out of grief. And now every soul that reaches finds a place to breathe. Kimmy's Recovery Zone. Kimmy's Recovery Zone. For a community. For a community. Where the hungry find a table and the lost can find a home. Kimmy's Recovery Zone. Kimmy's Recovery Zone. Oh, Kimmy, he keeps going for the ones who need a way, for the moms and dads and brothers who are fighting night by day. If your hands are full of falling, if your name feels far from hope, step inside
Kimmy, I hope I'm making you proud. Hi, this is Al Kinkle. We would like to invite everyone to Party in the Park 2026 on September 12th during National Recovery Month. This year's event will be held at Lake Kennedy Center in Cape Coral, Florida. For sponsorship packages and volunteer info, visit kimmiesrecoveryzone.org. Let's make this year's event the most memorable yet.
When children have to play inside so they don't disappear.
Welcome back to Rated R for Recovery.
Calling all angels.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Rated R for Recovery at the KRZ Studios. We broadcast from Kimmies Recovery Zone. We do the show every Tuesday at 6 p.m. So if you'd like to be part of the studio audience, by all means come down. We offer some refreshments, and we have a wonderful group of people that come on a regular basis. And if you don't believe me, would the audience make some noise right now, please?
Whoa, whoa, whoa!
You know, Joy, that sounds like a whole room full of people, doesn't it?
It is a whole room full of people.
So what we have to offer is this party in the park. By the way, Al Kinkle, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
Whoa.
And he is. You have the Madonna headset on. I noticed. You're gonna.
I got the wig coming later.
You got the whole thing going on.
Yeah, go on.
What we get to do, Joy, is we're doing a live broadcast at Party in the Park like we did last year.
All right.
And one of the blessings that Eileen was such a catalyst during that event, she got all the people that were there to come over and sit with you and I, and we got to interview almost everybody that took part in that event.
I learned a lot. That was great.
Yeah, it is, and we look forward to doing it again this year. Now, Al,
Yes.
we have a surprise coming up on the first Tuesday in September. Our musical guest will be a young lady who was on tour with Melissa Etheridge for a year and a half.
I love
Her name is Kelly Neff. She won the singer-songwriter competition for the state of Florida, and she will be our musical guest on the first Tuesday in September.
All
So
right.
that'll be something to look forward to.
Exciting.
But right now, it's the moment, ladies and gentlemen, that you've all been waiting for. Years ago, how many years ago did we open?
2017.
In 2017, this young man sitting to my left, your right, started this organization it was in a terrible, terrible situation where he lost his daughter to a drug overdose. And the biggest devastation of drugs and alcohol is, for my part, is that I hurt the people I love and that love me. But some of us go through blinders on not realizing how bad of a situation is till it's too late. And once this happened, Al developed this program called Kimmies Recovery Zone. And I believe that this organization is responsible for this right here. This is a box of Narcan. This is a life-saving medication that brings people back from the dead, basically. And Al has managed to, along with Heidi and Eileen and everybody that works here at Kimmies Recovery Zone, been able to get this in the hands of all the first responders in Lee, Charlotte, and Collier County.
Yeah.
The schools.
Schools, 120 schools.
Rehabs.
Hospitals.
What else?
100,000. We gave over 100,000 of those Narcan boxes out this year, all throughout Lee County.
Just this year?
No, I'm sorry.
Since 2017.
No, after 2017.
And you also have a stand outside the front door here that even if you're closed and somebody needs this, they'll be able to get it. Is that correct?
Exactly.
And where are you located?
We're located at 507 Center Road, Page Field, right next to Page Field.
Yep.
Right here in Fort Myers.
In fact, this building used to be the old Page Field Community Center years ago.
Yeah.
I was smoking crack then, though. All right. So anyway, so ladies and gentlemen, let's move on to the second segment of our show called Kimmies Korner. And hosting that segment of the show is our wonderful friend Al Kinkle.
Hey. John, you always do so good winding us up, so thank you so much for everything you do for us. And I'm very happy you're going to do the podcast again this year, and you'll be there, and we'll have a great time. But anyway, tonight we have some special guests, some dear friends of mine that we met here in Fort Myers, and we started a talk, and they wanted to help out. They wanted to help the community. They want to help build the community, and they want to provide services that the community has. And we have Manny and we have Pradeep. Okay, these are these two gentlemen right here.
Thank you, gentlemen.
And they have Qdoba also. So we not only pizza, we also have Mexican food, and that's right up the street. And you'll tell us all about that when we get opening to that. But at any rate, it's a thrill. I had an opportunity to talk to these gentlemen quite a few different times, and when people partner and collaborate with each other, that's when we have a lot of success and we help more people than ever. And part of their whole lifestyle is helping other people. So thank you for being here. Appreciate it. Okay. What was it about Marco's Pizza brand that connected you and made you choose that path? We talk about franchises, we talk about restaurants. I'm a restaurateur for many, many years, and I always wish I had a franchise. It just seemed like they did better than I did, but and you do. So anyway, what was your choice there to do a franchise?
So I think first of all, thank you for having us. First of all, when we think about Marco's Pizza, we're talking about quality, consistency, and freshness. Why would you want to have something that's frozen? Something you don't believe in. Being with the brand, I think the value actually is in the product. I've been eating this for about good 5 years, and I'm still not bored. That's probably the meal I eat every day:
Ah,
breakfast, lunch, or dinner.
yeah, and I would eat it every day if you would let me come in there.
Oh, sir, it's all yours.
You chased me
I'll
out
be at your service.
the other
I'll
day.
bring it for you.
You came in. We had such a meal here the other day. I want to thank you for that. That was so good.
Well, and we have pizza tonight. I see people eating Marco's Pizza right now.
There you
Very
go.
much too.
Marco's brand, the pizza, so it's fresh. Everything's fresh, and
So we make the dough every morning.
okay.
We don't have freezers in the store. Talking about the top quality meat. So the whole process makes it to come eat every day. Rather than going to a brand that is frozen. Just change the whole perspective of eating.
Yeah, and it's interesting when you say that, but a lot of people don't realize that when you say you're committed, you don't have freezers in the building. I mean, that's all we lived by back in the day is
Fresh
we
cut
had
veggies. There's no
freezers
packed
and
veggies.
afraid something would go bad or something like that. And your costs are good. You don't you value your customer, and by serving fresh food,
Always.
you're making them happy. You make me happy every time I eat there. So anyway, um, what values guide you as a business owners when it comes to leading your team and serving your customers? So the values that you present to the community, what are they?
I think I've always had my guidelines as simple as honesty and teamwork. You start with honesty and create a team.
Most of
These two principles have always led me to the next level from the day one, and I stick by it.
Yeah, honesty. I love that, and a great team, and you do have that, and to build that team isn't something that comes easy either. You really have to put a lot of time and effort in that so that everybody gets that same message that you have and the same heart that you have. I think that's why we're blessed here. We have a great team, unbelievable team, works very hard every day, and everybody here is just. And Heidi's not here, so we got to say hello to Heidi. Say hello to Heidi. Big round of applause. She said she'd be watching tonight. So to get people in the same position that you're in, same with here, you have to hire the right people and then bring them along. It takes a little bit of time for everybody to digest the whole system. And I think here's what we're blessed at. Most of us here are in recovery, and that helps understand the product that we're delivering and why we're delivering it, and we know it, and they know how important their jobs are. And in your position, it's the same thing. They take great pride in serving that food because they know it's fresh and it's right out of the box, right out of the kitchen, and so that's real important. Thank you. And then the culture, when you're served in your restaurant. How was that path, taking them to that, knowing that the customer is there to enjoy themselves and relax and things like that. Was that difficult getting that across?
I've always seen you look at the mentor you're working with
Okay.
and train yourself right. First, you're trained, then train your staff right.
Hmm.
It just works fine. I've seen my team grow with me from the day one. We've managed to, grow up to a total of 4 Marcos Pizza and a total of 10 businesses that we own. We employ about right under 200 people.
Wow.
And we've had about 75% of the people they've been working with us for years. It just works just right. Train them right, and they train further.
Yeah. If you have that many people sticking around, there's something you're doing right, and that's a
No, we're
great.
blessed. We're blessed.
You're blessed. Yeah, certainly. And then coming out of the restaurant industry, you restaurants and hotels, and you coming out of the cruise ship business
Yeah.
at one point in time, they're great training fields that you were in too. So you combined all that together with your own spirit and your own culture, and it works.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Uh, talking about the restaurant industry, it's evolving. But the leaders like my friend Pradeep, he's one of the best owners, operators. With the level of experience he has, the industry needs some of Pradeep's definitely.
Right.
Okay, well, community support's something we talk about often here at Kimmies Zone. Why is giving back and being involved in the community so important to you? I know you a little bit better than the audience does, and I really get it loud and clear where
Yeah,
you're coming from. So give me
Al,
some
I'm
of
gonna
your
be
advice.
I'm gonna be honest in this one.
Yeah,
I've been greedy. I've been very greedy about money.
yeah,
I love being greedy,
yeah,
but I've not enjoyed it.
yeah.
The joy came when I started serving the community. I've had it. What's in for me? The thing that gets me most joyous, let me do it for you.
Right.
Oh,
That's where the heart melts. It's there's a small thing, but once you start doing it, that inner joy, that's priceless.
Okay.
I think it's a peace and satisfaction.
Okay.
When you share, sharing is caring, as it always said that. Um, the culture we both came from, our parents, our forefather, they always taught us share a piece of bread, piece of meat, and everything we have around us. We have been given share is the best thing you can ever do, and it brings you more happiness, more peace, and more prosperity.
Yeah.
So these are the things I think it's a more cultural value we have been given by our society, and we want to pass it to next generation. And connecting with the Kimmies Recovery Zone, the whole reason was that when we saw what you have studied many years ago, and we want to be part of it. We want to be part of it because it's pretty much giving us the same reason, what we want to do it. But we have to start from ground level, and I think it's overall good and better for both of us to be a part of your team with the Kimmy because you're already doing it and become a part of your team. I think it makes us not only pride, it makes us more satisfied, more peaceful inside, that we are doing some good cause for good human, and the people who are suffering around us are the one need us. We should be motivated to stand up, to go and help them up and be part of Kimmy's recovery, So that's a thing.
Thank you.
that's beautiful.
That is beautiful. Yeah, and I love that. I think that the more people understand, the more you give, the more you get, in a sense. And that might sound not quite the way it is, but that is the way it is. The more you give, the more you get. And I don't mean in dollars and cents.
No, it is.
More-
It is. In my practical experience, I have seen,
Yeah,
and I'm very much true believer of more you give, more you get it.
yeah, yeah,
And when you want to talk about money, yes, If
Sure.
I have given a buck, the God has given me 100 out of it.
Yeah.
And that's a fact.
Yeah.
Both of us, we are immigrant to this country. I mean, it's a land of opportunity. And we came a long way. But again, like you said, giving, yes.
Yeah.
Anything we have earned. In our culture, 10th part of our income, our earnings supposed to be donating for the good cause. And this is what we both have been doing it. Our family have been doing that. And we want to make sure we continue that culture passing on to next generation, because that will motivate and makes maybe not whole world's a life better, but at least 1, 2, 3, or 4 or 5 people life better.
Right.
And that it's like you're starting a chain, right? And you keep passing on to next and next and next and become chain, and then that's the way
Hmm.
it becomes Kimmies Recovery Zone.
That's
Well, I think that
I like
Bob Dylan once said that the way that you change the world is to start from your front door and work your
Yes.
way out.
The charity begins at
Absolutely.
home. So
Yeah.
we have to start from me, start from him, start from you, start from us.
Yeah, and if we touch one person, is the way I think about it anyway, is if you just touch one person, you don't know how many people in that person's life you can change just by touching that one person, no matter what it is. Is it just kindness? Is it monetary money? Is it lots of things could be involved in that? But if you touch somebody and show kindness to somebody, and that's in your culture, I mean that's a beautiful thing, that we have that in us. I think that part of where I learned most of my stuff is in my family and the neighborhoods that I lived in when I was a young man, and you learn those things and you carry them with you for the rest of your life, even though we think we get lost sometimes, and they do get lost sometimes, but we find them sooner or later. I know I was lost for quite a while, but I found the way back home. But thank you for that. Appreciate it.
And feeding people is
Yeah.
one of the most
Yes.
heartfelt, heartwarming, and basic things that you can do for someone.
Yeah, with food insecurity today is a big number. I mean, it's just like what we're just talking about. We were talking about some of the food insecurity and the homeless that we see every single day walking around here. I mean, I just sometimes I want to hang my head down
Hmm.
because I can't help everybody, but it's out there, and Lee County, I can say that Lee County has really, really stepped up to the plate, and they're trying to help in every way, shape, and form that they can. And that's everybody in Lee County. They really stand up. You call somebody here, and they're here. Our volunteers, for instance, I mean, we got so many volunteers, and they come for years now, same people, and just doing the right thing. So we are blessed in Lee County with a lot of great people like yourselves. So thanks again for that. Um, Okay, recovery is built on hope, opportunity, and people believing one another. Have you ever given someone an opportunity who just needed someone to believe in? What did that experience teach you? So you've helped us, so that's whether you know it or not, you've helped us here a lot. But has there been anybody that I'm sure when you hire people and you work with people or just friends of yours that you've helped, and what did that experience teach you? I think you might have said it already.
So I have a personal experience to share. I started my first business in 2009 in New Jersey, which we
Oh,
talked.
what part of New Jersey again?
I was in North Jersey, Summit, New Jersey, Union
Okay.
County. Yeah,
Yeah.
Union County. So this young kid, just about 17-year-old, uh, he came to ask me for a job. Hey, I want to have a part-time job. I was a franchisee for Verizon Wireless. I gave him a job, uh, but he was always had a trouble at home. Not being a bad kid or wrong kid, uh, he was adopted, and but not with a good experience with the family he was living in. And I do remember one day it was I think it was below zero,
Oof.
and it was snowfall. His so-called mother came, actually she didn't even come to. I was closing the store. My wife came to pick me up, and I was like, "Hey, Jonathan, is your mom coming?" And he's like, "No, she's not coming." I'm like, "How are you gonna walk? It's like just about almost 3 miles where you live from here." And he's like, she said, "No, you're by your own. I can't come." Like, "Are you sure?" That's what she said. And he's like, "Yes." And I'm like, "Don't worry, I and my wife will drop you home." I So we drove, and he went. He got off car from the car, and then he's like, "Okay, I'm good to go." I'm like, "No, I want you to just make sure you're getting." And he's knocking a door, knocking, knocking, knocking. She's not opening up. I thought, "Do you have a phone?" "Yes." "Why don't you call her?" "Maybe she's sleeping. God knows, right?" So she didn't. So I'm like, "Don't worry about it. We got you. We gonna take you our home." We took him our place, and then gave him cozy bed. Like we had a 3-bedroom house. He slept that day, and then he started to cry. He came. My wife made him dinner, and then he's like, "I don't remember when I was treated like this before."
Oh, wow.
And he really got very emotional. And he asked me, "Do you mind if I stay here for a little time? Maybe a few days, not for the rest of my life." I'm like, "Yes." And he stayed with us almost a week. And my parents, they were visiting me from India that time. And now he is not only seeing our care from my end and my wife's end. He was thinking that they are my grandparents. My mother loved to cook, and she's making Indian meal. She's feeding him because he's there for 4 or 5 days, and he's going from there. I'm like, we bought him a couple of clothing, and like he was studying in the same school district. He goes from there, and from that day goes until today, at least, and he become a mechanical engineer.
Oh,
He
wow.
went to Rutgers.
Unbelievable.
Until today, once a month at least, he will ping me. He'll call me, hey, I haven't forget about you. You guys, what you have given me, the experience and the emotions that will live with me for the rest of my life. And he said, "I wish and I pray to God that I can be like your family one day when I become father, or I become, I'm like husband. So
Yeah.
I want to raise my kids. I want to bring that culture, your culture, to my family, my into my home. This is what I have experienced." So just to share, small little story about uh, who we are, what we
Yeah.
are, and how we care about human beings and human life. And that makes us, like I said, it's not about just experience. It's just about inner peace.
Yeah.
And that's what, when we connected, I mean, thanks to Manny, he's the one who made me connected to you folks. And
Yeah.
you guys came to the restaurant. We talked, we sat down, we had conversation, we connected, and look at today. We are end up sitting here and talking.
You are
So
really
thanks to you.
making a
Thank you.
difference. Yes,
Thank you.
indeedy. Yeah. And and see, now you made an engineer out of a young man that didn't have anywhere to go, so to speak. You had a home, but you took care of him a few days, and that carries on. This is what we always preach here. We keep talking to people. Those little steps you take with people are well worth it, and you do get that back. Not maybe in money, but you get it back by seeing somebody's life change. That gentleman right over there that just told his story. He's a little friend of mine that you, I couldn't remember where we met, but we know now. But that's a great story, and that story that's a very kind gesture to tell that story, and that story will change somebody's life, whether they're in this room or they're somewhere else. But I know it did me a lot of good just to listen to you. So thank you so much. All right, there we go. When you look towards the future, what kind of legacy do you hope to leave in Southwest Florida through the business and service to others? So we talked a little bit about legacy before, and there's a different opinion of legacy and what that
Yes.
really is.
For me personally, legacy is not about leaving a fortune, leaving a lot of money in a bank, big house for my next generation. It's just about more values,
Right.
the culture thing.
Right.
You know, uh, again, I will say that proudly, that being an immigrant, whatever I have earned in last 20 plus year in this country, I'm very happy, very honored. And I tell any day, pretty much every day, I talk to my kids. I got 2 boys, almost 11-year-old and 9-year-old. We sit down for dinner table or breakfast together, and we always talk. Who I was, where I started from, how I end up coming here. Slowly but surely, we're still growing, and becoming good business people. And we want to make sure what we make, we not only keeping in our pocket or in a bank or to ourselves, it has to be shared, right? And also not to forget about our culture and our roots where we started. Because once we forget about that, we would be something else. We do not want you to be. So I would urge you, I will coach you and practice you to practice same thing, and also hard work, because without hard work, I don't think so anywhere, any of us, we can reach anywhere.
No.
And it is very important for us. There's no shortcuts to the success.
Yeah,
So these
no
are the things,
shortcuts.
this is my things, which I think personally, I believe this is the legacy I want to leave behind,
Sure.
once I'm gone. So they remember the word, not remember the money I left for them.
Yeah.
I think being a better person is a better legacy than leaving $1 million in the bank.
Yeah.
Saving lives, be there for people. That's
Yeah.
more of a legacy than $1 in the bank.
Yeah. Having close relationships and all that. Today, there's so much about the money and the power and all that kind of stuff. It kind of saddens me. It's never been my driving force, money. I just happen to be lucky in the right place in the right time and blessed by dear God that things worked out, But I was never really worried about money. It didn't shake my boots at all. It was just the fact that I wanted to be successful, wanted to have good things so I could do good things for other people. And that's the way I roll, it's that simple. And I think most people do think that way. Just they might not get the opportunity, especially today when things are so tight and things are rough and food insecurity, rentals and car payments and insurance and gas and all that. So people are having a hard time getting out there to give. But like I say, Lee County, we're blessed. We got so many great people here in Lee County. It's just a blessing for all of us. I think we're going to roll out there. We're going to bring John back to the stage to give some wisdom.
John Nichols, ladies and gentlemen.
John Nichols, the famous John Nicholson from
The
Party
infamous.
Park.
One of the sad statistics of our show. So my background's in broadcasting and radio, and we had what's called demographics, which was male or female, and what age group you catered to in your show. Unfortunately, and I say unfortunately, our demographic is everybody, because everybody, ladies and gentlemen, has a family member, a coworker, a neighbor that's been affected by drugs and alcohol, and that's a sad statistic. When we get into recovery, the main thing we're focused on doing once we connect with this power is to see what we can do to put back into life as opposed to pull out of life. And you gentlemen, the constant thought of others is the foundation of our recovery. That's what our literature says, and you're actually living it. Give them a nice round of applause. How was that?
That was
Great
a great
job.
wrap-up.
So, and just don't forget Al with his Madonna headset. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take another commercial break. When we come back, you're going to be entertained by a worldwide entertainer that is from Hope by Song, and his name is Bruce. We'll be right back after
All
these
right,
messages.
Bruce.
Thank
Bruce.
Have you been charged with a crime? You could face serious penalties for conviction, and it is vitally important that you have skilled legal assistance on your side during this time. Call Brian L. Edwards, Esquire, Attorney at Law today. 888-512-6254. Results matter. With a track record of success, our methods are tried and true. Mistakes happen, but we can help. Brian L. Edwards, Esquire, Attorney at Law. Visit FortMyersCriminalLawFirm.com or call 888-512-6254.
Kimmy, I hope I'm making you proud.
He had a little girl named named Kimmy, with a laugh that lit the room. Then fentanyl came like a storm cloud and took her away too soon. He kneeled down by her bedside with a prayer he could not shake. Then he said, I won't just break here, I will build for others' sake. So he opened up the doors where the hurting could walk in, with a couch, a meal, a blanket, and a chance to start again. Kimmies Recovery Zone. Kimmies Recovery Zone. For our community. For our community. Where the hungry find a table and the lost can find a home. Kimmies Recovery Zone. Kimmies Recovery Zone. There are folding chairs and coffee. There are boxes by the wall. There are nights he stays up answering every single call. A father with a broken heart who turned pain into a light. Now he hands out help in silence till somebody makes it right. From the ashes of his sorrow, he made shelter out of grief. And now every soul that reaches finds a place to breathe. Kimmy's Recovery Zone. Kimmy's Recovery Zone. For our community. For our community. Where the hungry find a table and the lost can find a home. Kimmy's Recovery Zone. Kimmy's Recovery Zone. Oh, Kimmy, he keeps going for the ones who need a way, for the moms and dads and brothers who are fighting night by day. If your hands are full of falling, if your name feels far from hope, step inside, the door is open. You are not alone. Kimmy's Recovery Zone. Kimmy's Recovery Zone. For our community. For our community. Where the hungry find a table and the lost can find a home. Kimmy's Recovery Zone. Kimmy's Recovery Zone. Kimmy's Recovery Zone. Kimmy's Recovery Zone. For our community. For our community. Where the hungry find a table and the lost can find a home. Kimmy's Recovery Zone. Kimmy's Recovery Zone.
Kimmy, I hope I'm making you proud. Hi, this is Al Kinkle. We would like to invite everyone to Party in the Park 2026 on September 12th during National Recovery Month. This year's event will be held at Lake Kennedy Center in Cape Coral, Florida. For sponsorship packages and volunteer info, visit kimmiesrecoveryzone.org. Let's make this year's event the most memorable yet.
When children have to play inside so they don't disappear.
Welcome back to Rated R for Recovery.
Alrighty, everybody. Welcome back to Rated R for Recovery, ratedrforrecovery.com. On YouTube, we have a YouTube television show. You just go on YouTube, type in Rated R for Recovery. It comes right up. You hit the like and subscribe button and the notification button. We would appreciate that. Next week's show, a great show we have. You know, you're never too old to get recovery, and you're never too young either, as Isaac will attest to that. And then we have our friend John Bafar, local documentary filmmaker, on the show, and Johnny Rod from the band WASP, to your dining and dancing pleasure. So, ladies and gentlemen, right now it is my pleasure to introduce our musical guest for this evening. He is part of a group called Hope by Song, and his name is Bruce.
Bruce. Start with a little Beatles song here. Well, babe says she's traveling on the one after 909. Said, come on, baby, run down that line. I said, move over once, move over twice. Come on, baby, don't be cold as ice. Said you're traveling on the one after 909. Begged her not to go, begged her on my bended knee. Woo. You're only fooling around on me. I said, move over once, move over twice. Come on, baby, don't be cold as ice. Said you're traveling on the one after 909. Come on, baby, I'm one after 909. Yeah, come on, baby, I'm traveling on that line. I said, move over once, move over twice. Come on, baby, don't be cold as ice. Just traveling on the one after 909. Went to the station, picked up my bag. The railman said, you got the wrong location. Well, down my bags. And I went back home. Then I find I got a number on. Well, now said you're traveling on the one after 909. I said, come on, baby, I'm traveling on that line. I said, move over once, move over twice. Come on, baby, don't be cold as ice. Said you're traveling on the one after 90. Said you're traveling on the one after 90. Said you're traveling on the one after 909.
I'd like to thank you on behalf of the group. And anyway, that was a song that was actually done live by the Beatles in their famous rooftop concert. Did you know? They know that 1969, I believe that was. Yeah. That was the year of Woodstock. The song was written by John Lennon and it appeared on the Beatles album Let It Be. You got another song for us, Bruce?
Yeah, I'm going to do an original.
Oh, very good.
I do believe, because you have to believe in yourself first, I think. Well, I do believe there's still a chance for me. Oh, I do believe still a little light I see. Oh, I do believe there's still some time to breathe. Oh, I do believe in me. Oh, I do believe there's always time for love. Oh, I do believe there is a God above looking down on you and me. Oh, I do believe all these things I'm singing of. Oh, I do believe. Oh, yeah, well, I believe in love. Well, all my life I have been searching something to believe. Oh, then I found out that it's always been here inside me. Oh, I do believe. Oh, yeah, well, I believe in me. Well, all my life I have believed something to believe. Oh, then I found out that it's always been here inside me. Oh, I do believe. Oh, yeah, well, I believe in me. I do believe everybody's got a soul. Uh-huh. Oh, I do believe there's just too much that we don't know. Uh-huh. Oh, I do believe that this whole world's out of control. Oh, I do believe everybody's got a soul. Well, all my life I have been searching for something to believe. Oh, then I found out that it's here inside me. Oh, I do believe. Oh, yeah, well, I believe in me. You know that I believe. I truly do believe.
Very, very nice. Give Bruce Gallant a nice
Thank
round
you.
of applause.
Thanks.
As Bruce goes on hiatus starting when? Tomorrow? Next week, he leaves for parts unknown, ladies and gentlemen. We have a great show for you next week. We want to thank Mark Santora, our executive producer, who put that wonderful montage together about Kimmies Recovery Zone and the upcoming event, Party in the Park. We want to thank Eileen Kapanen for booking our guests, and we want to thank Raylene for being the associate producer here on Rated R for Recovery each week. This couldn't happen by ourselves. This happens with a team of people. So that's all we have to say for right now. We'll see you again next week. Stay sober, my friends.